In this video, I'm going to talk about motorbike navigation using a smartphone. The topics include Apple versus Android, what Tigit uses for phone mounts, cheap versus expensive phones, SIM cards in Vietnam, phone mapping apps, GPS devices, Chinese phones and rugged smartphones, recording GPS, and finally USB chargers. This video can apply to anyone, whether you are renting a bike from Tigit or not, traveling Vietnam or not, but interestingly, phones, and I mean the breaking of phones, is one of the biggest areas of confrontation when it comes to Tigit and dealing with clients. First up, Apple or Android? I will keep this brief, but from years of experience running a motorbike rental business, I can tell you that Apples fall apart on phone mounts. The cameras break through vibrations, and at least the older models seem to overheat when using mapping software in the sun. Further to this, good mapping software like Maps.me and GeoTracker and Waze, and even to a certain degree Googlemaps, just don't work that well on iOS. Unfortunately for your Apple users out there, this is just a landslide of a situation where there are basically no circumstances you should be using an iOS device over Android when it comes to navigation on a phone. What you can do to help the vibration issue is using something like a quad lock and the vibration dampener add-on. Okay, so let's talk about phone mounts. At Tigit, we provide Motorwall phone mounts for free, which are actually extremely high quality and very strong. We run off-road and enduro tours, and I've experimented with quad locks and the more expensive brand Peak Design and various other random brands. All phone mount brands, from what I can tell, have problems, where the phones can fall off a mount under abusive circumstances. For the average motorbike rental and road journey, things like quad locks are great, especially for Apple users trying to save their phone from vibrations. In the end though, at Tigit, we find that the Motorwall style phone mount provides the user with the best control over stability of the phone, and they are extremely strong long term. So what do I mean by control over mounting a phone? Well, Motorwall phone mounts are basically a clamp. You can tighten it around your phone as hard or as gentle as you like. Often the rubber on the sides of the mount wear out though, and so you can have metal clamping your phone. This will obviously scratch it. The entire mount has easy to adjust Allen key style screws, and these do come loose over time and need regular checking. Where customers really go wrong though is that they reposition the phone mount with brute force with their hands without undoing the screws. This then loosens everything up and causes the situation where the screws can break or become loose and the phone will drop. In the end, the Motorwall mount is amazing, but it does require the client to check over the mounting system and to monitor it over the duration of a journey. What I do is buy a little camera strap that can connect to my phone. I loop this around the handlebars so if the phone falls, it doesn't completely fall. You need a phone that has a camera strap function though. I will emphasize again here, 1, the client needs to take responsibility for the phone mount setup and make sure the screws are all tight. 2, the phone mounts we provide does not have any scratch protection to the side of your phone. And 3, the Motorwall phone mount does not help with vibrations at all. So if the above 3 points are not acceptable, then you can buy a cheap Android phone from us, or buy a quad lock from us, or just navigate the old school way with your phone in your pocket. Cheap or expensive phones? This topic is actually quite a hard one, and what I will say is that this is an adventure activity and it doesn't matter what phone mount you have. There is a reasonable chance that your phone can fall off a motorbike. In other words, whatever phone you have mounted to your bike, you need to be able to afford to lose it or break it. So at Tigit, we sell cheap Androids from around $85 US, and we install all our maps onto them for you. They are ready to go and very usable. Really, for mapping and navigation, you do not need an expensive phone. The cheap ones do the job. So when you are weighing up mounting your expensive phone versus just buying a cheap one, consider that a quad lock vibration dampener alone costs around $30 US, and a quad lock itself costs around $60 US. So you can see that just buying a cheap phone is probably better. All of the Tigit tour guides operate with Android phones costing less than 150 USD. SIM cards. In Vietnam, there is a variety of mobile networks and they are all good and all cheap. You can buy SIM cards directly at the international airports, or you can now buy eSIMs in advance. Viettel is the most popular and has the best coverage, but I personally use Mobi because the app sort of has English, so I can just about work my way around it. What I will say here though is that it can be tempting to use hotspot to connect your main phone with a SIM card, which is perhaps located in your backpack, to the cheap phone that is on your phone mount. This does work, but it can cause mapping apps, in particular Maps.me, to be a bit buggy when the connection is lost. Hotspot is not a reliable connection between mobile devices, but it does work. So you can do it for sure, but my advice over the sake of a 10 USD SIM card is to just buy 2 SIMs. One for your primary phone and one for your cheap navigation phone. Okay, let's talk about mapping apps. So I have a full-blown video on this topic, but in a nutshell, if you are mapping properly, you should be using a combination of Maps.me and Waze. Basically, you download the map off the Tigit website onto Maps.me. This allows you to follow our route with no internet. It also means you don't need to rely on turn-by-turn navigation. You just keep your dot on our lines and off you go. A lot of people are only familiar with turn-by-turn navigation, so the idea of just following a line can take a bit of getting used to. But when you figure it out, it is a great way to navigate and to make sure you are always on the best roads. When it comes to Google Maps, just don't use it. Use Waze instead. Waze is owned by Google, so it is more or less the same thing. It is just much better set up for adventure travel. It doesn't have weird bugs when the internet is lost. It knows a lot about the speed limits and actively tells you. It displays your speed as well. And for Vietnam, it allows you to choose motorbike routes instead of car routes. Basically, it's just easier to use for what we're doing. What I do on road trips is load up Maps.me, hold my finger on the point of the map that I want to go to. I swipe up and I copy the GPS location. Switch over to Waze and navigate to GPS location. Job done. This really is the best of both worlds. Okay, so GPS devices and Chinese phones and rugged smartphones. What's the deal here? I have played with the standalone GPS devices such as the Garmin Zumo XT, but I found the software to be very outdated and simply does not have the same functionality of apps like Maps.me. Unfortunately, from what I can tell, brands like Garmin continue selling to the old school bikers, but the truth is, for the modern world, phones are just better. I am yet to see a client come through Vietnam that has successfully got a GPS device working here. So if you are planning on emailing me about the setup of a GPS device, I will just forward you to buy a phone. Thankfully, there does appear to be brands moving forward in this area though. So if you are a GPS unit guy, just make sure your GPS device supports Android and the downloading of third-party apps such as Maps.me. An example company I've been pondering is DMD2, but I noticed that their small GPS units are actually just phones. So there you go. On that topic of rugged smartphones, there are plenty out there. For example, I own a Oukitel rugged smartphone, and also a Caterpillar, yes, the digger company, rugged smartphone. They are rugged, but honestly, I'm not entirely convinced they are more rugged than the average Samsung phone. I honestly believe at this point, if you want a rugged and affordable phone, just buy a Samsung. On build quality, they are unbeatable. Chinese phones such as Oppo, Vivo, and Xiaomi are readily available in Vietnam, affordable and a reasonable choice. However, they do tend to have weird hidden functionality issues. An example is that Chinese phones don't seem to update GPS location without an active internet connection. Meaning if you don't have internet, an offline map like Maps.me won't be able to follow your GPS signal. Super weird, right? But it's true. Recording GPS. We all want to record video and pictures, but how about recording GPS of where you've been? This serves 3 purposes. If you are off-roading and got lost, if you have recorded GPS, you can actually backtrack. so it is a safety feature in my eyes. If you want to share something cool with Tigit or friends, sharing the GPS map and a pin is the nicest way you can do it. Don't go sending pictures with circles on things on a map. It's really annoying. If you want to record your journey for safekeeping when you are older, it is a nice thing to have on record as well. I have all my trips logged and I look at them just like you might look at a picture. Either way, recording GPS is so simple. For Android, download GeoTracker. For iOS, download Ridewithme. Hit record GPS at the beginning of the day, hit stop recording at the end of the day, export to your email, and then upload to Google My Maps. Full video here in the right-hand corner. Okay, let's wrap this video up with talking about USB chargers. We do not provide USB chargers with our bikes. This is simply because USB chargers break too often, and it also adds an additional layer of diagnostics when it comes to electrical issues on the bike. In this day and age, power packs are so cheap and so powerful. There really is just no need to go bothering the motorbike's electrical system. Around $15 will get you a 10,000 mAh power pack, and a USB-C charger will have your phone on full battery between 1 and 3 hours depending on the model. So get that sorted before arriving. Otherwise, for all your electrical needs, there is a shop here, everywhere here, called Tigit Jon. How do you pronounce that? I don't know. They sell everything, and surprisingly, in most of the shops, they speak English. I hope this video has been helpful. Okay, so now that you have watched this entire video, thanks for that, you can now let me know how to respond to the following accusation. My 1000 USD iPhone fell off the phone mount and the screen broke. Tigit needs to pay for a new screen or I will 1-star review you. What are you going to do about it? Comment down below your thoughts. Thanks for watching.